Hello, I hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel, Hannah Tay. This is going to be my second-hand Kang book review. I did one on her book, The Vegetarian, which I absolutely loved and adored. So I'll link that video down below. And then I have just finished Greek Lessons. And going into it, I thought I was going to love it because I loved The Vegetarian so much. So this book is told from two different people's perspectives at the same time. So one is a woman, she's a mature student, and she is mute. But she's not mute for medical reasons, it's for psychological reasons. And she can't figure out why she can't talk. And so it's going back into the fragments of her memory, her childhood, her current day life, what's going on, how her stopping speaking, but there being no medical reason for it. She's going to therapy. She's trying to work out how to unlock her voice again. And she has been mute at different periods throughout her life as well. And she's lost custody of her son. We don't really know much about the custody battle. We just know that her ex-husband has full custody of her son and she only gets to see him once a month. So she's living with this grief and agony of not being able to see her son. She's very obsessed with language and the idea that when she learns a new language, she can unlock something, unlock her voice, unlock a different way to communicate, and the way that language can be used as a weapon against people to kind of shut them up. Oh my God, I loved everything to do with language in this book. It's very heavy, talking about language, talking about different words, how they are perceived differently. There's a bit in it where someone calls her something and it's about how words can kind of like cut you open. If they're said by someone who's very personal to you and they're very hurtful words, it talks about the words slash her face open, and obviously no one's actually physically attacking her, but because the words are so hurtful and spiteful and bitter, how it can really kind of physically hurt you. And she's been physically hurt by words, and so it's meant she stopped talking, and as a consequence of that has lost custody of her son. Her son is like the light of her life in the book, and I loved how, oh my God, I loved this book. I loved it. I was going to say my review of it in the end, but I loved it. I loved how it spoke about her apartment is very dark, and it's just a naturally dark apartment, but for some reason the room that was her son's bedroom is light. It talks about the light of her life really is her son, and she's losing him because she has lost custody. She only sees him once a month, and his dad doesn't want him to see her anymore, so she turns up at the school, and it was just heartbreaking. It's also told from the perspective of her teacher, and he is a man who is slowly going blind, and he knows that one day he'll be completely blind, but at the moment he is not blind. So he's in this weird limbo where he knows one day he will wake up and see completely darkness, but he's not at that stage yet, and his eyesight is deteriorating. And I loved how it spoke about one day he'll only be able to see in dreams, and that everyone will be frozen in time. So everyone he has ever seen will be frozen as he sees them, because he will then go blind and he will never see them age. I thought that was so interesting to do with blindness, and that the only time he'll see colour and light and everything will be when he's dreaming, and then when he wakes up in the morning it will be darkness. And he's got to live with that, and he's lived with that, you know, since he was a child. He knew that one day he would go blind, and his eyesight is really rapidly deteriorating now, so he knows that day is coming soon. The two characters don't have a lot to do with each other throughout the novel. It's only at the end that they really start up a conversation, and that's because the teacher assumes that the woman is deaf, and so he at the beginning doesn't know why she's not talking. She hasn't told him, no one's told him. So then he thinks, oh God, she's deaf and I haven't been helping her in this class at all. So he starts communicating with her through sign language and through braille. But of course she is not deaf. She can hear everything, but she can't communicate that to him, that she can actually hear, and that she doesn't talk, and she can't really say why she doesn't talk because she doesn't know why. And there's not one singular event that stopped her from talking. It was just a build up throughout her life and making herself feel smaller and wanting to not be a burden on people, and wanting to kind of, should I really even exist? I don't know. I'll make myself smaller in conversation. I'll say less. I'll take up less space, to the point where she stopped speaking. There is a lot of analogies around snow, and the idea that snow can look quite violent when you look outside and it's falling down heavily, but if you were to go outside in that snow, it'd be really soft on your hand. And there's a lot about kind of dying in the snow, and I thought that was beautiful. Everything to do with snow and frost, and how after a first layer of frost there's a second layer of frost, and putting that within the human body as well. The idea that you could lay on the snow and just let it bury you, and that you would just lay there and die and fall asleep in the snow. That kind of idea is used a lot without it, and she's living in agony because she doesn't have custody of her son anymore, and she can't just make herself speak, and her son is saying to her, please, like, Dad doesn't want me to see you anymore, please, I want to live with you, I don't want to live with Dad, I want our lives to go back to how they are, can you just talk, can you just communicate, can you just do something to let him know that it's okay, that I can stay with you. It was absolutely heartbreaking. And also about how she's almost very suicidal because of the situation with her son, the idea of never being able to see him again, the idea also when she turned up at the school, and obviously she doesn't speak, so she was just standing there and her son was saying, you know, Mum, you can't be here at the school, and then she grabs him, like hugs him, almost like how you catch a fish, this kind of desperation to it. Oh, I just love Han Kang's writing, that idea of, you know, when like someone catches a fish, that they're so frantic with it, that she's so frantic with her son because she knows she's losing him. I have marked out some moments that I loved the best, but there were loads of other moments that I liked as well that I didn't mark out. So this one, talking about falling in love. I realised for the first time that falling in love is like being haunted. Even before I opened my eyes in the morning, you would slip in under my eyelids. When I opened them, you instantly transferred to the ceiling, the wardrobe, the window pane, the street, the far-off sky, and glimmered there like dampened light. You haunted me more persistently than I imagine any ghost ever could. And this line, which is about the hatred she has for her ex, who has taken her son from her. The hatred that had boiled up in her long time ago went on seething, and the agony that used to surge in her remained swollen, a blister that wouldn't burst. Nothing healed, nothing ended. And then to give you an example of the thing like snow, as I was talking about, the idea that she could just lay down and just die in the snow, that she's in so much agony because she can't unlock her voice and just talk, and that she's losing her son because of it, the only love of her life. This scene. She carefully touches her lips to her sleeping child's eyelids. She lies down beside him and closes her eyes. If she opens her eyes, it seems that she will see thickly falling snow, so she closes them even more tightly. With her eyes closed, none of it is visible, neither the big glimmering hexagon crystals, nor the flakes soft as feathers, neither the deep purple sea, nor the glacier like a white mountain peak. There are neither words nor colour for her until the night is over. Everything is covered by a thick snow, a snow that is like time, time that fractures as it froze, settles ceaselessly over her stiff body. The child isn't by her side anymore. Lying motionless in the chilly bed's edge, she calls the dream into being, over and over again, to kiss her son's warm eyelids. And this is the teacher talking about going blind, talking about the idea that if you have had vision and then one day you don't have vision, how everyone is kind of frozen in time. Soon I will be unable to distinguish my own reflection from other objects. All the faces I remember will become fixed, firm, and unchanging in my memory, as in ice. And this is another thing to do with snow. There's so many beautiful snow elements within it. A person lies prone in the snow, snow in their throat, earth in their eyes, seeing nothing. A person stands next to them, hearing nothing. And the idea that it's a silent death if you just let snow fall over you, and that's just how she wants to die. She just wants to lay down and die because she's in so much agony of being separated from her son. And then her husband, her ex-husband, has at one point said to her something like, "You're crazy, I can't believe I let a crazy woman look after my son." And she talks about how that's caused a physical pain within her, even though it is words, because she loved this man and she loves her son and is criticising her being a mother, that it kind of like slashes open her skin and has left her mute because it's so painful, the words that he said to her and the hatred that she has for him now because of it. Oh my God, I thought the way that was, I could have just had it from her perspective. From her perspective, this woman who is, you know, mentally unwell and has lost the ability to be able to speak and then loses custody of her son. I could have had just a book on that by Han Kang because it was so stunningly done. But then there was this other stunning story playing out as well with this man, and he's recalling memories and he's talking to someone and he's saying to them, you know, do you remember this? Do you remember that in our childhood? And talking about slowly going blind and how he first knew as a child that one day he would go blind and how his sister dealt with that news and his mother dealt with that news. There was just so much going on in the book, and it was just such a beautiful, devastating, kind of agonizing book when you put yourself into both of their situations and how they feel about different people within their lives. And also it was saying, you know, my memory is fragmented because the human memory is. And so things that you remember, maybe I don't remember it properly, especially with the teacher. He was talking to someone. So he was saying to them in letters, you know, did this happen? I don't remember. You know, memory is so, it can falter and it can trick you. And did these things really happen or did they not? And it's not about one big thing happening within your life. It's just a series of different things, or a series of feeling a certain way, feeling maybe that you don't feel in, feeling that you need to make yourself smaller, to eventually your voice, your throat just closes up and you just can't speak anymore. So it wasn't like a big thing that happens in both of their lives that they're discovering throughout the story with them. It was subtle and it was beautiful. And this bit talking about wishing you would have hugged someone, wishing you would have appreciated someone a little bit more. The sadness of the human body with its many intended, tender, vulnerable parts, the forearms, the armpits, the chest, the groin, a body born to embrace someone, to desire to embrace someone. I should have embraced you as hard as I could. That period of our lives passed us by. It wouldn't have hurt or harmed me to do so. I would have withstood it, survived it. This book for me is 100% a 5-star read. Like The Vegetarian was, just really stunning. And it's just, both stories from both people are just so fascinating. They could have been their own stories because they're just so rich in the storytelling. And I just love the way Kang writes and how she just gets the human condition so right that it's not pretty, that it is vulgar and violent, and that things that you feel within you, this kind of hatred and burning agony that's within you, it's not something that you can just rationalize and get rid of. It's part of being human, is to kind of like hurt and feel these things when someone has so deeply hurt you, like for example the woman, her son being taken from her, that is an agony that she'll never get over, she'll never survive, that it's just too much of a burden to really carry. And so it's not like, oh, here's these people's problems, let's try and like rationalize it, and that is it. There's like they're acting out like animals, or they feel like they're inside, they want to act like an animal or do something terrible, like she is thinking about, you know, not wanting to be here anymore. And yet that's what it is to be human when you're in that deep kind of pain because your child has been taken from you, and that connection between a parent and child being severed. Oh, it was just stunning, absolutely stunning. I'll definitely be rereading this book as well as with The Vegetarian. It's the kind of book you just reread and then you'll pick up on new things every single time you read it as well. 5-star read. Absolutely loved it. You should 100% read it. It's my favourite book of the year so far. So I'm going to end this video here. I hope you have liked it. Stick around my channel. I've got book reviews, I've got vlogs, I've got loads of videos, I've got YouTube short vlogs, loads of stuff going on the channel. So feel free to subscribe, and I will see you again soon for another video.